Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the hive mind of the narcissist. So when we think of hive mind, I'm guessing we've already seen something similar, like how bees behave in like groups, and like they listen to the queen and they do everything like what the queen wants. She guides all of them. In a way, everybody has a bit of hive mind mentality, but when we talk about taking it to the extreme, this is where we find narcissists. Like, this is where they thrive. They have this need to be in hive mind systems where independent thought is not allowed except for one person's independent thoughts, and that's usually the person at the top. Perhaps we have a group of narcissists. Only one particular thought is allowed to exist there. So one particular narcissist is the only one that can think, while the others have to follow that particular narcissist. So let's talk about hive mentality. In a hive mind mentality, you are not allowed to have any independent thoughts. You only think what the leader says you should think. If you think outside of what the leader says, you will be cut out from that group, right? Where do we see hive minds? We see them in almost any place where there are a lot of people gathered. You can see them in the workplace, social groups, political movements, online communities. Let's take a break and go back in time, or where we are currently in school. In school, we see a lot of cliques where there's usually one that is sort of the dominant one or the alpha of the group. Everybody in that group sort of listens to that one as if that one is the only person that's like, I don't know, like she's their mother or something. They listen to that one, and any other independent thought is oftentimes dismissed unless the group leader is in agreement with it. In workplaces too, people form cliques, and they also have that same system. One person is the alpha and they all listen to that one person. So it's sort of like a animalistic behavior, like wolves. They move in packs, or hyenas. Animal jungle packs, one person leads. Lion, they exist in packs too, I guess. So it's like a animalistic, low intelligence way of living. It's almost like they're not like all there. Anyways, I got off track. So like workplace, yeah. So it's like a start to like the workplace. So it's like a type of animalistic behavior that you see in like the animal kingdom, like wolves having like alphas, and animals that move in packs. There are a lot of animals that do this. They attack in packs, they move in packs. So yeah, so the other thing about this hive mind is that they tend to hate people outside of their group, or they tend to look down at them, they tend to see themselves as superior and others as not, because um they be, I don't know. So they have this tendency to be negative in nature, because they tend to go around either bullying other people, excluding other people for whatever reasons, and they can also try to get rid of somebody because they simply live their own life. So you being a person with your own independent thoughts and living by yourself, like living by your own standards, by your own thoughts, and making decisions by yourself, threatens the group. You are not actually going towards them to stop them, but by simply being an independent person that thinks for themselves, you threaten the group. So they usually attack um I'm individuals, like people that are loners, people that can move on their own, people that don't need a group think to survive, people that thrive on their own. They tend to attack them because you being on your own threatens them. So They will shame you for being on your own. They'll make fun of you for being on your own because they don't like the fact that you're being on your own. They make you want to like either find people to be with. They make you want to be like them. So to get them to stop. So you get. So it's why people that are always like move on their own, keep to themselves, introverted, are always attacked by cliques. It's not a coincidence. There's a reason behind it. That it threatens the group when you can be something they can never be. Okay. So narcissists, yeah. When we talk about hive mind, we already know the people that are there, people that thrive in this environment. They are narcissists. It's a very high chance that in every single clique there's always going to be a narcissistic person there, and that's most likely the person that is leading the clique. um we we have different types of narcissism. There are some people that will not be narcissists that are there, that will just, maybe they're lost, to trying to figure out themselves. But most of the people that are the heads of all these type of groups, there's a very high chance that they are the narcissist of that group, or at least one of the few. So we also know that narcissists don't, like, it's either they want to force you to think the way they think, or they only think um what is trending. They either have their own independent thought and want you to think that way, or they only think what a group is thinking. So it's either they don't have a thought and they follow other people, or they have a thought and they force you to follow it. So they swing from one extreme end to the other. So the key signs of hive mind mentality, we see the group think. There's no critical thinking. Yeah, nobody thinks for themselves. We see selective information. Yeah, dismissal of opposite views. There's a moral superiority. They have some type of ritualistic behavior. Maybe they expect you to do certain things. If you think back to this movie Mean Girls, it's a particular scene where the girls were given I think her name KD or something, the type of like rules they have, that you can't wear pink on a particular day. If you do that, they'll exclude you. That's an example of this type of unnecessary strict expectation. They expect you to act a certain way, so you're constantly like on edge. If you do something out of the ordinary, they will cut you off. So it's a very strict group to be in. You can't just be yourself. Come on, what do you think this is? You have no individuality. Yeah, so you don't exist as a person. You exist as a group. You are a unit in the group. You're not like a person. You're not a person. You create the group. The group is the person. Then fear, yeah, obviously, people that don't see themselves as anything outside the group don't want to be excluded because they are nothing, right? And also people that are afraid of what the group might do to them if they're not in the group. No, groups tend to bully other people, so also afraid of that too. Okay. So as I said before, the leaders of all these kind of groups are the overt narcissists. They tend to force other people to think the way they think because they need other people to think that way to validate themselves, because usually they don't really have a strong mindset like they claim to. That's why they try to force other people to think that way, because if you don't, they can't hold on to it. So they tend to be very manipulative, very charismatic. They make you want to follow them. Yeah, and they can also be very dangerous too because of that. Then we have the covert narcissists that are just followers, people that don't question the narcissist, the overt narcissist. So they're like the perfect team. The overt is looking for somebody to follow them, and the covert is looking for somebody to follow. The covert does not think for themselves, so you need someone to think for him. The overt thinks for himself and wants to think for other people too. So there are two extreme end narcissists that support each other, and you can definitely find both of them in a clique, right? You can definitely find both of them in a clique. So why the hive mind? So why does a hive mind attract narcissists? Basically, in these groups, narcissists are able to acquire validation, supply, which is one of the things that they want more than anything else. That's the only thing that sustains them. They get attention, they get admiration, they get fear, they get all sorts of benefits. They get to control. You can also use that group, they use the connections of the group to avoid accountability as well. So it sort of acts as a place for them to be protected from consequences of their actions. So breaking free, if you find yourself within these kind of groups, or you find yourself close to this kind of groups, it's important that you don't let them attack your independence. These people would come at you for living your life the way you want to, or if you tend to be an introvert or like to spend time alone or are quiet, these people would make fun of you, will try and shame you out of it, try and make you feel inferior for simply being yourself. You should know that all these projections are just how the group actually feels. Unlike the group, you can be on your own, you can stand on your own, while narcissists, due to how empty they are inside or lacking a soul, they are incapable of standing on their own. They might literally run mad if they were to stand on their own. I don't think you want to see a narcissist that is left alone. They can really turn into the most miserable thing you ever see. So secondly, be willing to seek out the diverse information. So the group might only be telling you selective information. Be willing to look beyond what that group is saying, and learn. Be open-minded. Do not be closed-minded, because the group doesn't like you questioning things. Be willing to learn and look outside the group, and you might be surprised what you might find. Thirdly, you must be willing to face that fear. Fear is often one of the greatest things that stops people from leaving a hive mind group. Fear of what the group might do to you, fear of losing friends or family in the group. But you have to be willing to stand up to that fear, because you might be surprised the amount of benefits that might come to you once you leave that group. You can always find people that can replace the friends you've lost. You can always find other people to connect to, and most importantly, at least you find yourself, and you can find better people to replace that group. So whatever you think you will lose by leaving that group, in time it will be replaced by something better. You just have to be willing to go through those moments of not necessarily having those things and being content with just being alone. So thank you for listening to my video. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.